Is your SEO strategy already prepared for the AI wave, or are you still following an outdated playbook that will most likely just burn money without any results? Welcome to today's episode. Hi Julius.
Hi Ben.
Nice to be here with you.
First episode. Let's do it. Today's episode we're going to talk, as Ben just said, has SEO just changed? Is it dead? Is the question itself dead? Or has the definition and all the underlying components just changed? Let's start at the beginning. The situation, Google AI overviews, everyone knows them, everyone uses them, they're everywhere. And independent analysis, so not Google, found that the top normal ranking results, so the organic results, click-through rate is decreasing by over 35% when an AI overview is appearing. Obviously, that has a lot of marketers and businesses worried, which brings us to our main question. From your vantage point, Ben, and you've probably been asked this 1,000 times in your marketing career, should a CMO still invest in SEO, or is it dead, or has it changed?
Well, I think that's a very radical question. In general, what is SEO? So search engine optimization. You can do a lot of things on page, you can do a lot of things off page to increase the visibility in search engines. Let's start with the on page optimization. So when we think about the loading speed of the loading speed of a website, when we think of the image quality, the UX, all these things that are actually improving the user experience and the information architecture, you should definitely not stop investing in this. Mm-hmm. Because a search engine is somehow just mirroring the quality of the result. Mm-hmm. So this will not change. And overall, the quality of the result is not just important for SEO, it's also important for every other channel. Mm-hmm. So these are the basic rules to follow when working on a website that's on page. Of course, there are also activities off page, like backlink building, for example. That was, in the beginning of search engines, it was a really big thing. So everyone was actually buying these links from shitty link farms, and it was not really optimizing anything for the user. Yeah. So I think that this is really a big part of SEO that loses value at the moment. So backlink building in general, I think it's not the case that it has no value, but it loses a value.
Can you just, for maybe a listener that hasn't heard this before, explain in 2 or 3 sentences what backlink building means?
Of course. So backlink building means you try to find external websites that are linking to your page. Mm-hmm. And why is this important? Because there are billions, I don't know, maybe even trillions of pages on the web, and users typically don't see trillions of pages. They just see a handful. Yeah. And everyone tries to be the one that is shown for the specific relevant keywords. So there's a competition around these keywords. And whenever you have a strong competition, and in most of the markets in the world and most of the industries, we have quite a strong competition, a search engine tries to find a way to efficiently understand what are the pages that need to be benchmarked. Mm-hmm. And if you have an interesting offer or an interesting page, that is just a logical assumption from the search engines. Mm-hmm. It's very likely that you will have more backlinks. Yeah. So let's take Apple, for example. The Apple website has a lot of backlinks because there are YouTube bloggers, social media posts, mm-hmm. other websites. Mm-hmm. You will find links to this website everywhere. Mm-hmm. So if you type in MacBook Pro, then it's very likely that there are not many pages that have more backlinks than the page from Apple with the MacBook Pro on it. Yeah, it can be, but it's not necessary. So, but it's not completely singular. So the more backlinks you have, the better you get, the better you rank. Mm-hmm. But it's very likely that the search engines will find ways to find out the quality of your content when you have a lot of backlinks. Mm-hmm. So let's say there are 5 companies all trying to reach rank number 1 for MacBook Pro. And there's Apple, of course, they have a lot of backlinks. There's another company that has no backlinks at all. And there are 3 other companies that have a lot of backlinks. So it's very likely that Apple will start benchmarking, okay, what could be end of path? So when you search something and then you find it, you don't come back to Google, which is actually good.
Yeah.
What could be end of path for the user, so the best result, and then it starts to benchmark the pages that have more backlinks.
I mean, Google does
Google,
that.
yeah. The search engine does that.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why backlinks have been really important in the past, and I think they are still important because search engines will not completely go away. I think they will remain because there are a lot of use cases where a chat just it's not useful to have a chat, but the relevancy of these backlinks it decreases. That's my guess.
Okay, so what's shifting then? If backlinks are decreasing in importance, what's the main thing to go for and invest in?
So it's actually funny because it's quite comparable to the backlinks. It's being referenced. So how does an AI system learn? An AI system is like a big box where you just throw in a lot of information and it then tries to derivate answers from everything that is in the box. And from the functionality of understanding what's important and what's not, it works comparable to the backlink structure. But just with the difference that the backlink itself, so the link is not important. You can write 500 articles about media charge and why we are the best agency in the world. And if you publish them on 50 pages, it's very likely to improve the performance better than when you have 5 backlinks. So you can probably have a better visibility on these chat environments with just external text writing about you compared to building up backlinks that are not really valuable, because at the end of the day, there is a big difference. The large language model can understand really well whether a text is actually good written and valuable or if it's just crap. And something that I see a lot in backlinks, also in expensive backlinks, there are marketplaces where you can buy these backlinks, is that a lot of these backlinks are placed in publications that literally have no value. You can read them, but it's just no one ever reads them. That's the problem.
Yeah. Okay, I think that was a really good intro and a kind of a good explanation what's changing technically for a website, for a business, for a CMO. What would you recommend? How should they tackle this technical shift? What's in their marketing playbook for the next year? Obviously, it sounds quite complicated now. Not just getting these backlinks, but creating this authentic content and having things written about you in a proper way. Sounds quite a lot of work, right?
I would definitely agree with that. It's getting more complex, and the reason why it's getting more complex is because it's difficult to understand why your company is shown in an answer of one of these chat systems. So I'm not talking about the search results. For the search playbook, I think it will partly remain the same, but the same as it was. But the market is just, for transactional research, for example, it's shrinking. I think overall the search market is not shrinking, but for transactional research, so let's say you want to have a supplier to fix the roof of your house. You're typing in, I need someone to fix the roof of my house. I'm living in, Munich, and maybe you add some additional information like what's the size of the roof or whatever. So, and I think this is really complex when you do it on search, but it's really easy to do it on chats. And the difficulty for a marketer in optimizing for these large language models is to understand where should I place my brand and my company to then be shown in the results of these large language models.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. If you compare different laptops, so notebooks, the AI is probably visiting a comparison page
To get its information.
to get the information that it then just mainly repeats. So,
Yeah.
or maybe it's meshed. There are like 5 comparisons and just meshes all the information it gets, and then the result is one comparison that is only shown in the result of the large language model, so within a chat, and there are very often no links. And the difficulty there is to understand, okay, I need to be present in these external comparison pages, even though I know that there are no clicks or purchase events resulting from this comparison page.
Yeah.
But later on in the process, I will be shown in the result of the AI. So I think this is the difficulty, that the playbook for the last 30 years was, that's a classic affiliate playbook. You just cooperate with a comparison page, you give them some money for each transaction, everyone is happy, that's nice. But now it gets really difficult because you want to be present in these comparisons, but you will not receive direct leads or traffic from that. So you have to benchmark what's really important. And I think that the biggest fraud in this case will probably be comparison pages or publishers that are not really delivering any value. So you can be present on their pages, but yeah, and I think that's the difficulty for marketers and for marketing leaders to find a good way to invest in the strategy. You cannot just say, okay, I'm investing 50,000 per month, and then let's see, or I want to build up the reputation.
Yeah, and as you said, referrals or these comparison pages, still it's gonna take a while, right, for an investment in those pages to bring you results. Because currently, I think overall referrals from ChatGPT compared to search and Google still make up a fraction, right? So when should market leaders start investing in this, and when should they expect a return on this?
My recommendation is to start working on a strategy immediately. I think there should already be a strategy for over 2 years. But I mean, that's my opinion. I see that most of the companies are not currently really operating in their field of SEO in a way that is perfectly aligned with that. But one comment regarding the links and also the traffic that comes from ChatGPT or from Gemini or Perplexity, you're right. There's not much traffic coming from these environments, especially for transactions.
It's more indirect, I guess.
But the traffic that comes from these environments is really, really, really good. It's very often that it's not just lower funnel when you have a search, it's really lower funnel, but it's like the last step before doing a purchase. You do your research on ChatGPT. You search for a good consulting firm in the field of strategy consulting in Germany. So you do your research on ChatGPT, you get 4 or 5 results, then you dig a little deeper and ask, okay, what's the benefit of this company versus this company? So that's what we know, that decision makers are currently using these environments. And once you then receive a click on your website from ChatGPT, it's very likely that these people will get in touch with you. Or I mean, if it's about a purchase, then they can buy from you.
That's also risky, right? Because it's kind of breaking the normal traditional way of tracking these leads, right? If people, say, back to your example of a consulting firm, research the leading firms in Germany and then see, media charge as a solid contender, then maybe go on the website, look up a person to contact. How do marketers then track these in this new world?
Well, there are already quite a few solutions for that. So, of course, as we know it from companies like SEMrush or SimilarWeb, and I mean, that's not new. They get some sources from internet providers, and I mean, they try to get the information from the root, which is the smart way. But I haven't really seen a good solution so far, because I think that there is a big difference in tracking the rank of a keyword for a specific region versus tracking the visibility on these large language models. Why? Because a large language model has the profile of each user, and the profile of each user is really relevant to understand, okay, what's an interesting result for this user.
Yeah.
And not considering this, just looking at, okay, where was my company presented? I think it's a good way of getting some insights, and we are also using some of these tools, but I don't think that it will be the holy grail to work with such a software solution. I think it's just a nice to have, and from time to time you can book these subscriptions to get better insights.
Okay. Let's maybe, as a last question, start with some like concrete takeaways that marketers can use in their company. Should they now invest more in, I don't know, should they hire someone to create YouTube videos? Should they hire someone to create Reddit content? What's your strategy that you usually...
I think there's not this one-fits-all strategy, as always. Everyone needs a tailored strategy for the business case, but reputation management should definitely be a priority, because when you zoom out a little bit and think about, okay, what does it mean if someone writes about my company? What does it mean if I get reference? Maybe also on Reddit. I don't know. That just depends. I think for software companies, Reddit can be a really good idea.
Yeah.
So if you zoom out a little bit, you just have to think like a consumer back using just a search engine. Because when you use a search engine and you want to do a really good research, you want to find out what's the best strategy consulting firm in Germany. You want to find out how many locations do they have, what languages do they speak, what services do they offer, is there anyone who rated them externally, are there reviews, are there comparisons, all these things that you can do to actually do a proper research. That's, at the end of the day, reputation management. It can also be product reputation management. It's not necessary that you do it for the whole company, but reputation management should be the top priority at the moment for marketers, and specific for marketing leaders. I think that not every field, so in the field of performance marketing, it's quite difficult to really work on the reputation management. Of course, you can do the brand, you can follow the brand guidelines and all these things, but I mean the non-paid reputation management through external collaborations, that should be a priority.
And I guess that kind of becoming full circle then again, right? Because that's not too far away from the original idea of SEO, of just making your product findable, visible, and putting it in a good light so consumers find it.
I would say it's comparable, yes, but just with not overweighting backlinks anymore. That would be my recommendation. Maybe I am wrong in this. I cannot promise that it's not the right approach to not really build up backlinks, but I wouldn't heavily invest in backlinks anymore.
Okay, cool. Maybe one bonus question. and we might dive into this in another episode again. Where do you see the wider web going? You've talked earlier about kind of the query type, the transactional type. What about the informational type? So that the areas where websites are just publishing information and they're now getting killed by these AI overviews. Google is saying, no, the web is actually still growing, it's healthy. In court, they're saying in America, yeah, it's in rapid decline. Don't sue us. Don't break us up. Where do you see this going, and where do you see the World Wide Web going? Is it kind of breaking the business model behind many websites?
Well, that's just my expectation. I think that that's strongly correlated to AI. I think that a lot of transactional preparation.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is transactional preparation? It can be powered by humans who are actually like doing sales, doing explanations, preparing content on SEO. I think a lot of these activities will decline now.
Mm-hmm.
The main pillars of marketing, they will probably remain because it's a competition.
Mm-hmm.
And no one can, it's unlikely that every company can sell every product they produce.
Yeah.
That's one of my key hypotheses in marketing. So I think that the competition now gets just a lot harder. But yeah, a lot of these web activities that are related to preparing for a transaction, I don't think they will remain like that.
Mm-hmm. What about publishers and things not so related?
I think that's a topic for itself, because publishers, they should get paid if they are able to sell their publications.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment, it's quite difficult, because when you have ad revenue coming from advertisement on the website of the publisher, but users are not visiting the publisher because they get all this information through large language models, I would say then the market is quite broken. But I also see that some of the publishers are going in other directions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe a bad example, but I would say, what's the website for influencers called, where they can post pictures and then get money for the pictures? It's
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. I think OnlyFans is a very good example. I mean, it's a funny example, but I think what we can see there is they found a very efficient way for publishers to make money from what they do. I mean, it depends. I think there's a solution for each industry, and I wouldn't compare this industry with journalism. I think there is a difference, but maybe the logic behind that could become the same.
Yeah, for sure. No, very interesting. Let's talk about it in another episode. Maybe not OnlyFans, but the World Wide Web. Thanks for your time, Ben, and see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.